Okay, sorry about that. I was trying to get the right screenshot and I didn't do it. We have two American, not American. They're in America because I bought them in America. But these are two single malt Scotch whiskies, Speyside. Uh, one with no official age statement on the bottle, and one with an age statement. Let's see if it will focus. Not yet. Finally, Glen Moray Speyside Elgin Classic and the Glencullen 10-year. Okay, so Glen Moray, company founded in 1897. The distillery founded 1897, but the Elgin Classic introduced in 2014. Actually, their whole classic line. So if you look on their website, they have a classic line, and it's a bunch of different products. The Elgin Classic is their introductory model. All right, so this is if you want to call it, their base model. And it's aged about 6 years, 5 to 7 years. So your youngest Scotch would be about 5 years in this, and your oldest single malt would be about 7 years. So averages out to about 6 years, okay? And I got that from the website. Okay, they talk about it. And it's aged in ex-bourbon barrels. No grain whiskey in here, all barley malt whiskey, water and barley malt and yeast. That's your three ingredients: water, barley malt, and yeast. Okay. The competitor, let's moisturize the corks. Tommy Carroll says, top of the morning, Louisiana Liquor Reviews. Top of the morning to you, Tommy. I hadn't done a taste challenge in a week. Well, yeah, a week. It's been a week. Because I was in Alaska, so I went on a vacation. My father said when he was a little toddler, he used to call it cavation. He's little, we call it cavation. All right. And it's under the importation of a company called Prestige Beverage Group. So if you look up Glen Moray website, straight to the distillery, they'll tell you all about it. Or you can go to Prestige Beverage Group and they'll tell you about it. Okay, that's that. That's that. Price runs about $28 a bottle. All right, 28. I paid $24.99, but with JB inflation, it went up. Here's Glencullen. Speyside single malt Scotch whiskey, aged 10 years, right there on the bottle. They call it the Glencullen 10. Glencullen 10-year. I was looking on the Albertsons website because I bought this at Albertsons in Hammond, Louisiana. It was $20.99, $20.99. That's a low price for a 10-year aged single malt, is it not? Yes, it is. Matured in select oak cask. What kind of oak cask? Ex-bourbon, ex-wine, a blend of ex-bourbon and wine, a mixture? I don't know. They don't say. And there's no website. So fresh, clean, and aromatic on the nose with leather, honey, and vanilla top notes. Medium bodied with malt and cereal sweetness. Citrus, zesty hints, and a long barley-laden finish. And then they showed the picture of a black and white photo of the Glencullen. I guess. Well, somebody said that was an Irish name. I don't know. What do I know for Irish? What do I know for Scottish? And even if I did, wouldn't even matter because the other thing. All right, but anyway, so I don't know what I don't want to do. Okay. Ta-da! Real cork, not particle, pressed together cork, but a real hunk of cork. And that's your story. No, I don't want to by, you get Microsoft, they're always trying to sell you something. But it's probably the same with Apple, if you get that kind of system, they're trying to sell you stuff. It's the whole, and it's a game. All right. Particle board cork, meaning it's pieces of cork, but they're glued together with some kind of resin. I don't know what holds them together. I'm not really an expert in the cork business, right? But it's not, it's not rubber like some of these. They'll have like neoprene, that spongy rubber that you see at the bottom of shoe soles. Some people say it's actually better than cork. I don't know, because like once again, I'm not a whiskey bottling expert. I know nothing really. I really know nothing about it except that you can buy it with various caps. Okay. I can tell you what I think tastes better. I can tell you if I can tell them apart, simple things like that. But to sit there and try to comment on certain technical details like what's better, cork or rubber or twist cap, or what, those kind of things, I cannot give any kind of good answer because I have no kind of good information, and I have no, like I'm telling you, I have no expertise on it. I don't. But on this channel, if I don't know, I'll just try to say, try to tell you, I don't know. I could find out perhaps, but I don't know. Okay, now, one thing I do know right here, I know one is much darker than the other. You can see that if this thing will focus. Finally, you can see that the Glencullen is amber and the Elgin Classic is pale, almost straw or hay, clear, both clear. So I'm thinking that the Elgin Classic, the Glen Moray has no coloring added. I mean, why even bother adding caramel coloring if you're going to come out with something that's just a shade of a color to it? It's nearly clear. You know what I'm saying? Colorless. But after 7 years in a barrel or various barrels and then blended together, yeah, it'd probably be that color. And it's used bourbon barrels, ex-bourbon barrels will give it a little yellow note. It's yellowish. Okay. Now, would the Glencullen really be this amber dark after 10 years in barrels? 10 years, yeah, it might be. Might be. Hear me? Might be. Is it possible they're adding coloring? Of course it's possible. They're not claiming that they're not. So who produces this? Who makes the Glencullen 10-year? This we do not know. And Sazerac is not telling us. And so you may as well just not even worry about it. Somebody's producing it and they're bottling it for this independent company. And there you go. All we know is from Scotland. We know it's from the Speyside region, and we know it's aged 10 years, and we know it's 40% alcohol. We know those 4 things. All right. Well, we know 5 things. They're bringing it in under the County Line Distillers umbrella, which is part of Sazerac, Buffalo Trace. All you got to do is look it up. I don't know what my friend David was talking about yesterday, saying that's not Sazerac, that's Buffalo Trace. I said, what? Maybe he was, but I said, no, Sazerac owns Buffalo Trace. I had to jump on that right off the bat. Right off the bat. All right. So let's go and see if I can tell them apart, and then we're going to see which is better. And maybe it's no better. So as we start off, the Glencullen has the advantage because it's aged longer, may not mean anything. But secondly, it's $21.99 now. If you go to the store today, it's $21.99. Now, I will say one good thing about Albertsons. which is also owned by somebody else. But Albertsons has a good website. You look up their product, it'll tell you what's the price and is it in stock. Two very important things. What is the price? Is it in stock? And if it's out of stock, it'll tell you out of stock. Walmart will tell you what's the price, and they're pretty accurate. They're not always accurate, but they're pretty accurate about the price, the stock availability. Total Wine is even better. They'll tell you if it's in stock, and if it's not, they'll tell you expected to arrive, and they'll give you a date. So they'll tell you when they think they're going to get it in the mail. You know, to get it in the mailbox. All right, let's go with the aroma. Well, this smells like barley. Makes sense. Now, some people, and it's ignorance, but remember, ignorance can be corrected through education. You could be very intelligent and be ignorant of many things. Ignorant means you just don't know. I used to tell my students that. I said, y'all are ignorant. I'm calling my mom. I said, well, and then I explained what the word ignorant meant. Oh, they had no problem with that then. So it smells like barley. And a lot of people, going back to my point, they'll say, oh, I don't like Scotch because it's too smoky and briny, and I don't like any whiskeys that's smoky or peaty, you know, the peat, that compost thing. I said, well, hold on. That's some of the Scotch. There's a whole range of it that has none of those characteristics. It just tastes like grain, you know, like like American whiskey in that sense. So I don't know why they limit themselves. You know, you drink one sip of Scotch in 1979, and now oh no, I can't touch it because it's too smoky. And I'm saying that is not the whole show. Okay, so that smells very nice. Now, if you like smoky, heavy smoke, and that compost, that peat thing, okay, good. They've got scotches that feature that. And you can just run with that and just be comfortable in that area and go, 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 go. You say, well, I like both. Or I like a combination of those elements. Well, then they have those two. It's all very available. Okay, let's see here. One thing I was surprised about Glencullen, they had a lot more reviews and videos for it than I had first believed. Well, there was really only one video, Leilani Drinks. She hadn't done anything in like 9 months. I guess she kind of gave up on the channel. You know how people do. That's been my upset. That's been my heartbreak on YouTube over the years, because I'll get into somebody's channel. I'm like, oh yeah, man, they made good videos. And then next thing you know, they threw in the towel. Sometimes they die, like Keith's Beer Reviews. He was one of the best, but he started having heart trouble and he passed away, unfortunately. Can't do much about that. Sometimes they lose interest. That's usually the case. They're like, oh, they just don't feel like doing it. I don't know why that would happen, but they do. Sometimes it's because their enterprise didn't develop like they thought. They thought they were going to be the next big shot and make all this money and everything. But that didn't work out. So now they're on to selling Amway or whatever. All right, but you know what I'm talking. No, I mean, anyway, this one smells so mild. It's so mild bread dough. This one's a lot richer in like a syrup, a gluten. You say gluten. Listen to this. Yes, listen carefully. So a deeper aroma. Now, does that mean it's the Glencullen? I think it means that. I think that the extra 4 years, 3 to 5 years has made the difference. But we're going to call it a 6-year age because they say it's averaging 6 years. Not specifically 6 years, but it is generally. So it's like Jack Daniels. You can't technically, Jack Daniels is no particular age, but in a real sense, it's a 4-year age bourbon, you know. But that's not precise. Taste time. All right. Tastes like whiskey. Well, you say funny how that works out. Yes, it is funny. Funny how. Well, there's a little bite here. So there's a little bite here. It's a bread and that little harsh alcohol, that thing. All right. So it's nice. No, not the most fabulous thing in the world, but it's $24. So why would you think it'd be the most fabulous thing in the world? All right. So we get the gluten and not so much of the bite. Smoother. You say the 10 years did that. I think that's the case. Funny. It's aged longer, but it costs less. You say, yeah, because everybody heard of Glen Moray. Ain't nobody ever heard of Glencullen. And Glen Moray is a real distillery. And the Glencullen is something that they just coming from who knows what distillery, and they're selling it under a name. Yeah, I know. I know that. Is it always the same distillery? Oh, well, I can't say that. Could be maybe this year they got a good deal from somebody, and maybe last year they got a good deal, but it was somebody else. Does it matter? For $21.99, I guess it doesn't really matter. The Glen Moray's nice, but there's a little citrus peel, like say orange peel. I'm not kidding. The bread crust, white bread crust. What brand? Nature's Own. No, I don't know. Wonder Bread. I don't know. I do not know. Um, yeah, and a little like spice, like you say cinnamon, huh? Yeah, like that. But it's all very just little glints of that. It's not nothing is major in that area except for the bread crust. The other things are just little glimmers, like the Glimmer twins. Yeah, because if you were born in a cross, all right. This has a richer flavor. I'm just telling you, it's like the gluten syrup, the richer flavor. Yeah, has a little marmalade in it. I mean, it doesn't like actually have marmalade in it. I'm talking about the flavor. I mean, these are not liqueurs. You know that though, but we know that, and the American people know that. Okay, last chance. Anyhow, that's nice. It's nice. You say, well, how is it? It's nice. I don't know if I'd order twice, but it's nice. This one's nicer. Got a little bit more going on with it. A little deeper, more developed flavor. Not much more developed, but a little bit. A little bit. You salted him a little bit. You were a little out of order yourself. No, I didn't insult anybody. All right. So that brings us to the differentiation point, and I think this is the Glencullen. I mean, caught myself about to make a misstatement. I meant to say the Glen Moray. Oh, Glen Hughes, Glen Moray, Glencullen. Glen Ford. You see, it all works out. You say, what about Glengarry Glen? Well, okay. Oh my gosh. What's happening? I'm sorry, but this house is not cleansed. How you feel? Played? Well, I feel, you know how you feel? I feel worse than that because I got it wrong. It's the Glencullen that had the rough edges. You say, well, it was the cheaper one. I know, but I got fooled by my own hubris, my own Volkswagen Rabbit. I got confused. I was dazed and confused, like the Yardbirds. Oh, but man, it's not even funny. I got bitten by a snake. It's not even funny though, because but it's useful. It's not funny, but it's useful because now I can keep these little signposts in my mind. Um, and I am a 32nd degree. Well, you can't go into that, but anyway, I'm a 37th degree actually. I'm a wizard, but we can't go into that uh, for reasons that only exalted elders would understand. But anyway, it is what it is. And what it is something that I can use going forward because now I just have to remember, oh, well, the Glencullen's a little rough. $20.99, that's what I paid. So I think I'll get it right for now on. I didn't have any, I did the solo review, which to me, well, you know how these whiskeys are. You do it in isolation and you say, oh, it's so wonderful. And it has so many interesting characteristics and so forth. But then if you do it in a competition, it can really break down. It's kind of like a football team. You have your training camp and you have a few exhibition games and you say, man, this team's going to be good this year. We're looking so good. We just have so much going for us. We got these new draft picks and we made some good trades. But that's only, you haven't gone into competition yet. So it can be a mirage. And maybe that's what it was when I did the solo review. It was a mirage. Because when you bring it into competition, it's going to show if it has deficits. And this one has deficits. What weaknesses? You're insane. So yeah. All right. So the Glen Moray outclasses it. It runs away with the show. It is smoother, nicer, breadier, and has that glutinous. I can't even explain it really properly, but so there you go. And it's not even 10-year age. It's the base model. You can get better age ones from them. So yeah, Glen Moray whips it with no mercy. Do I feel bad about it? No, I don't feel bad about it. I mean, I'm sorry I got it wrong, obviously, but no. So Glencullen, you started off okay in a solo review, but hadn't been posted yet. But in the competitions, you just couldn't make it. Couldn't make it. How's it going to do in the future? I don't think it's going to win a single challenge, honestly. This thing would focus. I'll pay you $10. Okay. So sorry, Glencullen. You got to go back into the barrels for about 10 more years. I don't think that will matter. Somebody was talking about the universe is going to help me. I said, no, the universe will not help you. Neither will the sun or the moon or the stars. Okay. So I'm sorry that to insult the new age movement, but no, the universe is an object. It has no influence on anything. Okay, neither does your birth date. You say, well, I was born in April, so that makes me inquisitive. No, no, that has nothing. That's pretend metaphysics. Okay, anyway, Carlos Pyra says, brother, how come you don't do a series of your stories of beer and porter, posters and adventures, God bless, or alcohol in general? Well, I just don't think people would be interested in all of that. It's not the kind of thing I watch, and so can't see it working. Louisiana Liquor Reviews, would you agree it's a very thin line between genius and insanity? I would agree with that because the doctor told me, he said, you're so sane that you're insane. He said I was so sane that I was insane now. Then my boss. All right. But anyway, I could tell you about my dream last night, but I can't actually tell you about it because I don't remember what it was. All right, anyway. Oh, well, I'll give you everything I've got for a little piece of mind. All right, so anyway, all right. I would be, he says, I would be. You have a lot of stories. I've seen them in your old reviews. You talked to brand, and that catches my attention. Oh, well, I mean, I got stories, but like, they may not be worthwhile. They may not be worthwhile, in a general, or even a specific sense. All right, but anyway, that being said, and a lot of that was just jocularity or silliness. But as a comic, in all seriousness, I want to say this live on the air. Tomorrow, I'm planning to do the Tomatin Dualkus, or as it's called in the rest of the world, Legacy. Tomatin Legacy, or as we say in the United States, Dualkus versus Glencullen. And I say Glencullen got no chance against Tomatin Legacy. Never. It will never win. Not in a million universe years. Why did they call it Dualkus? Well, I'll tell you why. There's already a Scotch whiskey in the United States that's been around for, I think it's like 60 years, called Legacy Scotch. Is it any good? I hadn't tried it. I bought it. It was so cheap. But it's owned by the Sazerac company. You say, oh, yeah, well, that ain't no surprise. I know, right? So, but I think when Tomatin introduced the Legacy to the United States around 9 years ago, Sazerac said, time out, whoops, sorry, we already have a Scotch called Legacy Scotch. And Tomatin probably said, but that's a cheap blended Scotch. This is Tomatin Legacy. It's a single malt. They said, we don't really care. And so they knew they would lose, And the trademark office probably said, well, all you got to do is come up with an alternative name. And they said, oh, yeah, well, we'll call it Dualkus. What does that mean in Gaelic, the Scottish language? It means legacy. So they say, yeah, you could do that, So, but anyway, so that's what it is. It's Dualkus, which means legacy, but there you go. Okay, so sorry, Glencullen, you started off pretty bad, and I have a feeling it's going to get way worse. But maybe I'm wrong, but time will tell. All right, thanks, everybody. Y'all take care now. Oh, yeah, by the way, if you ever see Avion tequila, Avion, get it. I've tried it. Only took a little sample, but that's the thing that got me into the tequila world. My friend David said, you wear that shirt so much. I say, man, this shirt is so comfortable. I'm going to wear it once a week. Forever.